least I have audio. Oh, there it is. You know, I wish this... You know, I like... Okay, being able to skip through it is really nice. But I'm surprised it doesn't just autoplay. And like you... Like in any other game, it would just autoplay. And you would be able to spam A to speed it up. But not in this game, no. Oh! Okay, I almost had a complete collapse there. But I didn't, so we're all good. God, I need to do some cleaning. Alright. Oh yeah, so the next Splatfest got announced. It's actually really stupid. It's actually really stupid, and I kind of hate it. Well, okay, hate's a strong word. But... yeah. Oh, freshest fits. Alright, Hammerhead, my. Okay, whatever. So, yeah. So, the new Splatfest was announced. I want to say it's April 1st. And the Splatfest is... Which one of these creatures do you think is real? The Loch Ness Monster, aliens, or Bigfoot? Which, like, already, that's not, like... Well, okay, one, aliens are canon in the Splatoon universe. That's just, like, a thing. Two, that's not really an interesting right, like, oh, the idea, the concept of, like, Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster I kind of get. I feel like people don't talk about the Loch Ness Monster anymore. Like, I hear more about Bigfoot nowadays than I do about the Loch Ness Monster. Mainly because of that one senator who likes Bigfoot porn. But that's a whole other story. American politics are weird. But no, I don't really hear anybody talking about the Loch Ness Monster. And I haven't for a while. So yeah, that really does kind of nothing for me. And then aliens, yeah, okay. They just kind of feel like the odd man out. Like, they could have... Like, I get they're trying to, like, find... Right? It's basically land, air, and sea. Right? Aliens are in the air, Bigfoot's on land, and... that's in the sea. But you could have found something else more interesting than aliens. And then the colors... Like, the colors for the new Splatfest are... I want to say the Loch Ness Monster's, like... Are aliens even green? I don't even think the aliens are green. It's basically like it's like purple. I want to say maybe the Loch Ness Monster is green, the aliens are purple, and Bigfoot's like an orange color or something like that. Like, they're not even interesting colors. It's the same colors they've been using for most of these Splatfests, which does kind of suck. I mean, you know, the first game had so much fun with, like, all these interesting colors. Or Splatoon 2, I mean, had so much fun with all sorts of interesting colors. And now 3 just kind of seems to be sticking around to the same ones. Yeah, did we get, like, a chocolate... Did we get, like, a light chocolate and a dark chocolate? Or just a normal chocolate color? Yeah, basic. I mean, it was kind of orange, if I'm being honest. And then for dark chocolate, instead of doing, like, a dark brown color, what did they do? They did a, Oh, they did, like, a dark blue, and it just did not look as good as it could have. So, yeah, new Splat... I mean, I'm going Team Alien. I can already tell you that right now. But I'm not impressed with the new Splatfest, like, at all. Oh, shit. Yeah, nobody cares about the Loch Ness Monster anymore. And I don't blame them, because it's the fucking Loch Ness Monster. I mean, what, fairies? Are they gonna do fairies next? And I'm not talking, like Winx Club here. I'm talking fucking Contingly. Mermaids? Yeah, are they gonna do mermaids, fairies, and vampires next? I don't know, what's some other weird sort of myth? I don't know, the problem is they already did vampires versus werewolves. And vampires versus werewolves is fine, right? That's a fine Splatfest. I don't know, the problem is you gotta find something, 3 things on equal caliber. And that's not what this new Splatfest feels like. It feels like 3 things, right? Like, it's definitely Loch Ness Monster at the lowest, then Bigfoot, then Aliens. It was, like, and the problem is they can't say conspiracy theory either. Like, if it was like, which conspiracy theory do you find the most interesting? I'd be like, oh, okay. But no, they're not going to use the word conspiracy theory. I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out, but... And see, and it's funny, because they also had it. That Pokemon Splatfest was a great idea. Right? I stand by that. It was a great Splatfest all around. I think we lost, but even still. But whatever the most recent one was, the chocolate one, I was like, yeah, this is fine, I guess. This alien one doesn't dig. And then the camping one was weird as well. The spicy sweet and sour one I thought was okay. But yeah, so tonight's show is admittedly very... I've got 2 Sony question mark news stories. One of them is barely a story, but I'm going to talk about it anyways, just because, gosh, that would be the dream. It's definitely, the first story is definitely a typo, but still, man, I would love it. I would love if it was true. It's not, but I would love it. Second Sony news story, on the other hand, is relating to the PS5, which, again, it really, like, we're in the, what, 10th console generation? 10th? Or is it the 9th? I kind of don't remember. But it's still, I don't know. Personally, it just doesn't feel like it. Like, this console generation has been so kind of, whatevering. And then we've got WIBE. Oh, fuck, I didn't put an outro on there. Whatever. So yeah, it's a very simple show tonight. We don't have much to talk about other than that. I don't even have much for WIBE. I've got, what, 2 things? So let's start it off. So, right now, Microsoft is still trying to acquire Activision Blizzard. That's what they've been working for the last 6 months. And so far, right, did they recently, one of the lawsuits get dismissed? I know they're working on getting the European Union lawsuit dismissed. Or maybe it's the UK. One of the European lawsuits. And if they can get that one dismissed, then it's most likely that all the others will fall with it. Right? Shortly after. Because if that one... Because usually European antitrust lawsuits are way more extreme than American antitrust lawsuits. So if you can get the one European lawsuit out of the way, then yeah, that'll get rid of all the others. Kind of. And that's why, you know, Microsoft made that 10-year deal with Nintendo. With the hopes of, hey, look, Nintendo was fine with this. Sony's just being a bunch of whiny babies. But so as part of the filings to, you know, try to get these lawsuits dismissed, in the Microsoft lawsuit, in one of them, they were talking about how, oh, us having Activision Blizzard is no different than all of the, and having their exclusives is no different than all of Sony's exclusives. And the 2 exclusives they cited were, I want to say they cited The Last of Us and Superman. Could you imagine Sony making a Superman game? Especially an exclusive Superman game. That would be amazing. I would love that. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Holy crapola. Was it The Last of Us? I know they cited 2 games. It was something, it might have been God of War. It might have been God of War and Superman. And that's like a holy shit, right? Like, does Microsoft, because Microsoft and Sony, right? We know these studios talk to each other. They have people at each other's company to, give them information. It's like Microsoft, during that big Activision Blizzard lawsuit, or not Activision Blizzard, during the big Epic Games lawsuit against Apple, Microsoft in their deposition specifically said they expected Tears of the Kingdom to be coming out in 2020. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, these companies clearly have information on each other. But, that's interesting. So, like, oh, does Microsoft know that they're making a... Because we know they're making a Wolverine game, but are they making this... Because I wanted Rocksteady to do it after the Batman trilogy. There's technically 4 of them, because Arkham Origins, but we don't really count that one nowadays, or at least I feel like we don't. But, after the Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, and Arkham City, it was like, oh, are we gonna, is... The big question was, is Rocksteady going to make a Superman game? And there were all these, like, speculation for years. And then they just did nothing for a long time. And then Suicide Squad. So, it's kind of like, hey, right, did they try to make a Superman game and fail? Did Sony then pitch a Superman game to Marvel? And they're like, yeah, sure, do it. But this is probably a typo. I don't think anything's been confirmed or anything, but a 99% chance this is a typo, because Sony has the rights to Spider-Man. So they were most likely talking about Spider-Man during this. Oh my, I was just out of range. So yeah, they were most likely talking about Spider-Man, and we just, got it mixed up and all that. Or someone who was... Because they mentioned Spider-Man at least 2 other times in the filing. They don't mention Superman a single other time. So most likely, right, they basically screwed up, wrote in Superman instead of Spider-Man, and then nobody fixed it. That is the most likely scenario. And yeah, that's 100% what I believe. But God, a Superman game would have been so cool. Because somebody at some point will figure out how to make a Superman game. I have what I think is a good idea of how to make a Superman game. Don't know if it would actually be good, but I have an idea. Right? I think I've got a good idea of how you make a Superman game. Not like a AAA Arkham Knight style Superman game, but I've got an idea. But, AAA must have super capitalism, all the money in the world. So much so that we literally ruined this Suicide Squad game, and it's been delayed until potentially 2024 because of that. So, yeah, AAA capitalism at its finest. But we'll see. So, yeah, a Sony Superman game would be amazing. I would love that. Because, they know how to make a good Spider-Man game. We're going to get another great Spider-Man game, hopefully this year. But them doing a Superman game, oh, that would be great. But it's not going to happen. Oh, that's so good. So the other Sony story tonight... is a PS5 Pro. There's been all these, you know how we're always rumoring about Nintendo Switch Pro this, Nintendo Switch Pro that, Nintendo Switch 2, Super Switch. Please don't call it the new Nintendo Switch. God forbid, don't call it the new Nintendo Switch. Just call it the Super Switch. Great name. Great name. Okay, it's not amazing, but it's better than new Nintendo Switch. And so, right, there's all these speculations. Well, I feel like we're starting to enter that for the PS5. which feels very weird because the PS5 generation is what, 3 years old now? The PS5 launched in 2020 during the pandemic. I mean, I guess we're coming up on 3 years. Or are we coming up on 4? Did it launch before the pandemic? No, it must have launched during the pandemic. God, I don't remember anymore. Either way, you know, we've been in this generation for a while now. But it really doesn't feel like it at the same time. Because of how hard it's been to get a PS5. Like, I still feel like the vast majority of people don't have a PS5. Maybe that's just me. I mean, I have one. And I think things will start to change next year. Really, because I feel like the past 6 months, basically in the lead up to Christmas of last year, PS5s were more accessible than ever before. I saw a PS5 in a store, and I want to say November of last year. And that was like the first time that happened. And I've seen them once or twice since then. So it really does feel like, yeah, we've finally gotten over the hump, and more people are starting to get PS5s, which is great. You know, that's a great thing for people who want it. But also, this current generation of consoles just kind of feels sort of underwhelming. I don't know how it is on the Xbox front. Well, at least from an outsider looking in, it definitely feels kind of underwhelming. Why are they all just standing there? I mean, to be fair, we're not approaching either, but still. But yeah, so with all that, right, this current generation feeling kind of underwhelming, the PS5 being, you know, a little bit old now, right? It's technically coming up on 3 years. Is it time for a Pro next year? That all the rumors say next year. Is it time for a Pro? And my personal opinion is no. We are not that far. Again, people barely have the console to begin with. If they barely have the console, then it has not been long enough to have a Pro version. I know the PS5's got problems. Right? I've heard it's got problems. So far, I haven't experienced much of them. But I know, right, from everything I hear, the system's got issues. I personally really haven't experienced much of it. But, yeah. And, yeah, I don't think so. You know, I'm sure, there was this whole thing recently about, like, some system melting thing that was causing the system to fail. And, yeah, sure, fixing that as soon as possible is a good thing. But, I don't know, it really does. Like, we've been in this console generation for 3 years, and it doesn't feel like it. And I don't think we're ready for, to already have a Pro version. Maybe in 2 years? But really doing, like, the Switch, the Switch we're 6 years in. 7 years? Again, I'm very bad with years. If that wasn't clear from the Switch's anniversary, I'm very bad with years. Meanwhile, the PS5, we're 3 years in. I still think you can wait another 2. Especially if the console lasts 9 years. I know the average is 7 to 9. Well, I say that, but I want to say the Switch is now Nintendo's second longest running console. Behind only the Famicom. And that's only in Japan. The NES was the NES only did like 6 years. I want to say it did 6 years in a day in North America, but it did 9 years in Japan before the Super Famicom. And yeah, the SN, and right now that the Switch is over 6 years in a day, it's now the second longest Nintendo console. Even the Game Boy didn't go that. I mean, again, if we count the Game Boy Color as a separate thing, which I think you should. I know there wasn't that many Game Boy Color exclusives and everything, but I still feel like it should count. Because, or else the GameCube is for, like, freaking, like, 11 years or something crazy like that. Because what the Game Boy is... 89, I want to say? 89 to 98? Is that right? That can't be right. 81 is Donkey Kong. 80... I'm clear. I'm bad with time. I should learn my lesson. I'm bad with time. I have no idea. It's either way, the Switch has been around for a long time, yet the Famicom lasted a very long time as well. That's what matters. But yeah, I don't think we need a Pro. I don't remember all the specs. You know, oh, we're gonna make the graphics look a little nicer. Okay, sure. Guess what? That's what all consoles do. Like, I kind of get why. Again, last year was kind of the point where I was like, I kind of get why people want a Switch Pro or Switch 2 or whatever the fuck Nintendo does. I kind of got it last year. Am I still perfectly fine with how the Switch runs, especially on Nintendo games? Yeah, because I feel like Nintendo games run great. Shit. Wow, they did a lot right there. But I don't need a PS4. I'm definitely, if a PS4 Pro does get announced, I'm definitely not buying it. I have no use for it. Ooh. Okay, we're definitely getting some lag. Oh. We were doing so good until the very end here. PS4 Pro. I mean, I'd buy up a Switch Pro. I bought the OLED. But I don't need a PS4 Pro. Or PS5 Pro, I mean. Wow, we won that? We were doing really good until the last 30 seconds, where I thought we lost it. Anything else with this? I don't know. I just don't really care about the PS5 Pro. What can I say? I do need to play more on my PS5. I've got plenty of... Like, I really should be playing Horizon. I don't know. I want to play Horizon, but, you know... So I guess that takes us to WIBE already. It's, you know, the show's probably going to barely last an hour tonight. I don't know, I say that, we'll see. But I'm expecting a short show tonight, and I'm fine with that. It's... So, what have I been playing? Well, have I tried anything new? No. Have I TV showed anything new? Nah, not really. I mean, I basically re-listened to all of Moon Girl at work. You know, while I was doing stuff for work, I had Moon Girl on in the background. You know, there's always that stuff where it's like, God, I don't even remember. Did I talk about that last week? When in Moon Girl, at the end of the episode 11, you get that one great moment of silence. Maybe probably the second best silence I have ever seen in a TV show. At the end of that 11th episode of Moon Girl. Fantastic. So yeah, that's great, because, you know, all the sound gets cut off, and then you get the stomping to bring back in the music, and it just works so well. All the colors get taken out, except for, like, Moon Girl's eyes, and then she runs up on the soundbar itself. Fantastic work. All around, a great episode. Great ending. Definitely don't, the freaking married couple are weird. But other than that, no, I think that was a great episode. And then anything else I didn't mention? Music is still killer in that show. Absolutely love everything about it. There's one other thing I feel like I forgot to talk about last week. but I don't remember what it was. I don't know. I don't know. We've got a few more episodes left, and who knows when those are coming out. Did I watch anything? There wasn't a new South Park this week. I didn't watch the finale of The Last of Us. I've only watched the first episode of that one. I should get around to that. I don't know. There's at least... I've got a few shows I gotta get around to sometime soon. Like, I really do want to finally watch Arcane. Anything else? Television-wise, have I watched? No, I can't think of anything. My TikTok has been... I guess there's like a new... like a strawberry shortcake show. And I've been getting a bunch of... for some reason, I got like this one... I keep getting this one creator who's talking about strawberry shortcake. But I'm like entertained enough where I'm like, you know... Normally I would just be like, oh, I'll just skip past this. But I'm like entertained enough where I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll just keep watching this. Sure, why not? I haven't actually watched the show because it's probably like fucking Peacock exclusive or something stupid like that. But it's been an interesting to like outside perspective. I don't know, you know, I'm a guy, so not like that has ever stopped me in the past from watching weird shows. Anything else? Nah, still on a South Park kick, but there wasn't a new episode. Oh my god, that not blobbler, Explosher is really just spot on. They're holding the point. Yeah, we got our ass kicked. No, that's all I can think of. Our Explosion did nothing. So game-wise, I've been playing Kirby. Last week I talked about how I started Return to Dreamland Deluxe. And since then, I've put a lot more time into it. Oh, I've never seen that emote. That last one. So yeah, I played it. I beat Return to Dreamland Deluxe. I beat the story mode. Still really great. Looks great. There were some things I didn't remember in the game. And I literally went back and watched my... Because I streamed Return to Dreamland. The original Wii game. I don't know, like 5 years ago. And so I went back and like, was this always in the game? Or am I just misremembering things? And no, it was always there. I'm just totally misremembering things. But it's still a great game. Great game, great ending. I still really enjoy it. And then so after beating it, I did the arena. Did it on my first try, easy. That new mech power-up, pretty good. Worked really well in the arena. I'm gonna see how it worked in the true arena eventually. But doing the arena went fine. So after I beat that, and I've been doing all the Mary Magaland stuff, you know, to get all those unlocks, all the masks, and that takes forever. And I can't, the stupid egg one, man. I am awful at that egg game. Like, holy shit, you don't even know. So, but I've been working on that, and you know, there's some good mini games in there. I like the Squeak Squad one. That's always, you know, Squeak Squad will always have a special place in my heart. It's not like a super amazing game or anything, but it'll always have a special place in my heart. So I've been working through Squeak Squad, or I've been working through that. And then after doing that, I was like, what's the extra mode in this? Because, you know, like in Triple Deluxe, the extra mode is DDD Tour, where you play through the game again, but as DDD. And Planet Robobot, I don't remember what the mode is called, but I know it's a Meta Knight thing. And then in Star Allies, it's literally you can play as any character. You want to play the game again as Marks? Go right ahead. You want to play the game again as fucking Poppy Brothers Jr.? Go right ahead, right? There are no limits to who you can and can't play. And you know, that's actually really cool. The extra mode, if I have one big problem with Return to Dreamland Deluxe, at least going for 100% completion, the extra mode kind of sucks. Because the extra mode in Return to Dreamland is just, hey, play through the game again, but you have less health, and all the enemies are stronger. Like, yes, technically that's how, like, the King DDD Tour or the Meta Knight mode works in Triple Deluxe and the other mode, but the thing that makes those modes work so well is that they're speedrun modes, right? DDD Tour and whatever the Meta Knight mode is called are speedrun modes. You're not replaying every level. You're not doing them in like a one-to-one order. They even add some new stuff, but they're more focused on like, hey, do you want to speedrun the game? Here's kind of, right, here's like a good way to do it, right? You're going through, instead of replaying the entire game again, you're basically getting a best of best highlights reel, but as a different character. And right, guest stars in Star Allies works the same way, except for the fact that you get like, if you're playing as like Marks, you'll get a special Marks stage. If you're playing as Magalore, you get a special Magalore stage, stuff like that. So there is some cool stuff in there. But yeah, the extra mode in Return to Dreamland is just play through the game again, but it's harder. And that's kind of disappointing. You know, that's one of the few problems I actually do have with this game. Now, if it came out, like, if it was like, oh, a year later, and like I hadn't played the game for a while, I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool, right? Oh, hey, I can play through the game again, but harder this time. But because I just beat it, and I want that 100% completion, I have no desire to do it again. I'm like, you know, I'm kind of good with playing through the game again. Now, this is the deluxe version, and it did add something new, where after you beat the game, you unlock the Magalore epilogue. And it's I want to say it's a series of just a few short worlds, a few remixed bosses, but you're playing as Magalore. And as you play through it, you know, he plays kind of like how he does in Star Allies, but he starts off very weak. And as you play through it, you unlock crystals that give you upgrades, and you're doing all this stuff. It's a very simple mode. But yeah, they do actually add a fair bit of new content to the game. Like, yeah, you can beat it in like 2 hours, and you can 100% it in probably 4. Which, to be fair, that's how a lot of the other, like Guest Stars mode in Star Allies takes like 2 hours, but Heroes in Another Dimension, it probably takes like 2.5 to 3 hours. But, like, Heroes in Another Dimension takes, yeah, probably about 2 hours, and that's the epilogue mode in that game. But no, I liked the Magalore epilogue. I finally did, I spent all week just, like, slowly coming back to it and playing a little bit more, working my way through it, and I really liked it. Playing as Magalore works pretty well. He's definitely got some different changes that you kind of got to get used to. But, that's fine. And you get used to him. There's special, like, challenge levels for his different powers. And it really takes full advantage of it. And you get some fun levels. You get the bosses. I really do like the bosses in the Magalore epilogue. I don't want to go into any spoilers, but I thought that the bosses were cool. And the final boss is fantastic. It's an amazing final boss. That I don't think is a reference to a previous Kirby game. Again, I don't want to go into any spoilers. I don't think it's a reference. It might be, but I don't think it is. But I can tell what they're doing. Like, I can see the intention, and I think the intention is very clever. Again, I don't want to get into any spoilers. But yeah, so I did that, and I played through the Magalore epilogue. Yeah, again, it took me like 2 hours. And then you can basically replay all the levels to get like platinum trophies for racking up combos. And that's cool in its own right. But no, I liked the Magolor epilogue. Would I recommend picking up the game just for the Magolor epilogue? No. No. But if you've never played Return to Dreamland, 100% pick it up. If you haven't played Return to Dreamland since it released on the Wii, like 10-something years ago, I would recommend picking it up again. It is totally worth your time going back to and playing again. Would I recommend it over playing, not For the Future. It's not called For the Future. Forgotten Lands. Would I recommend playing Return to Dreamland Deluxe over Forgotten Lands? No. Would I recommend it over Star Allies? Probably. There's definitely... Star Allies has a bad rap, and there are definitely some things that the game does great. There are some really fantastic things about Star Allies that it does not give enough credit for. Some real refinements that, hadn't come... Because, Return to Dreamland is like the first game to use the formula. Those refinements would come later on down the line in Planet Robobot and Triple Deluxe. And then they worked their way into Star Allies, and Star Allies is a great game. Not as good as Planet Robobot. I don't even know if it's as good as Triple Deluxe. But I still like it. I was thinking about it. Triple Deluxe really is a puzzle game when you get down to it. Like, I'm using these, like, the super copy abilities. Cool idea, by the way. And they're all, they're fun to play as. I like the bowling one. And I like the sword one. The fire one and the beam ones are kind of whatever. But, like, it gives me really to the point. Most of the copy abilities, hey, you just go through the level, and whenever you see, like, a glowing star, you use the super copy ability. Whereas the Super Suck in Triple Deluxe, or whatever it's called, really is a puzzle-solving mechanic. You use that feature to solve puzzles. And there are a lot of puzzles in Triple Deluxe. A lot more than you see in Star Allies. A lot more than you see in Return to Dreamland. A lot more than Planet Robobot, even. Because, there's that Kirby style of puzzle where you defeat a mini-boss, you steal their power, and then you solve a puzzle. Right, that's a very standard Kirby formula. That is, I think people were sick of it by the time we got to Return to Dreamland. Sick of it, I use that in quotation marks. Right, it's just like we've been seeing it a lot. But no, Triple Deluxe really does throw things up by, using all these, like, using the Super Suck to, like, do interesting things. And you can fail puzzles. Like, I don't know how you would play through with the super copy abilities and fail a segment, right? Like, that's just not something you do. But but you totally can fail in Triple Deluxe. I recommend, I know the 3DS eShop shuts down and, like, maybe, it might be on Monday, it might not be for another week, and after Monday, it might be the 27th, it might be the 20th. But it's gonna suck to lose the 3DS eShop. There's so many great games that are going by the wayside. Gerard the Completionist put out a video today where he bought every digital 3DS and Wii U game. And it's like over $20,000. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, go give that video a watch. It's a great video. But yeah, that's archival without piracy right there. Once it's all gone. I mean, even right now, I'd say piracy ahoy, but yar har shiver me be. But yeah, no, Return to Dreamland's an easy recommendation. Great game. And the Magolor epilogue was fun. I liked it. I like Magolor. And I like Marks. What can I say? They're fun characters that are great villains. Easily some of the best in Kirby. And now, Dreamland 2 is on Nintendo Switch Online, on the Game Boy. Which is that... Okay, so I was like, I know it's the Dark Matter trilogy. And I was trying to think, like, okay, Dark Matter is not in the original Kirby game. It's not in Kirby's Dreamland. It's not in Kirby's Adventure. Because in Kirby's Adventure, it's Nightmare. In Kirby's Dreamland, you fight DDD. So the first game with Dark Matter is Dreamland 2. And then he comes back in Dreamland 3. What is the third game in the Dark Matter trilogy, then? Because the only other game that I can think of is 64 Crystal Shards. Which, I mean, I guess it technically has Dark Matter in it. So I guess that technically counts? Unless there's a Kirby game I'm completely forgetting. Because then after the that trilogy... Because Superstar Ultra, you don't fight Dark Matter. You fight Marks. Because then after the Dark Matter trilogy, you get Amazing Mirror and Squeak Squad, and I guess Nightmare in Dreamland. Nightmare in Dreamland is what I meant. Which I've never played Nightmare in Dreamland. That's one of the ones that I do. Kind of like how I say I hope Zero Mission gets re-released. I hope Nightmare in Dreamland gets re-released. Because I've never played it. We started off so strong tonight. And now I'm just getting my ass kicked. So what else have I been playing? Have I been playing anything else? I haven't been playing anything. I haven't touched the PS5. I haven't touched the Xbox in months since Vampire... When is Vampire Survivor coming to Switch? I was thinking about that the other day. When, like, the mobile port came out back in December. The Xbox port, I want to say, came out in, like, sometime between, like, October and November. How is Vampire Survivor still not on Switch? What? How is it not on Switch yet? Because I want to put, like, 100 hours into that game. But I won't until it comes to Switch. We got destroyed. Holy crap. I want to play Vampire Survivors. Come on. It's been too long. I don't know why I was thinking about that the other day. I don't think the game got, like, an update recently or anything like that. But just something about that I was thinking about, and I was like, what? Why haven't we gotten anything? I want to play Vampire Survivors. I know I have it on Xbox, but I want to play it on Switch. I'll put another 100 hours into it, I promise. Another 100. I've barely put 10. Oh god, there was the new Disco Elysium thing from the developer's corpse. That's like, what the fuck are you doing? Ugh, what a mess. I can't think of anything else I've been doing other than that. Like, legitimately, I might have done other stuff, but nothing that really... It's been a busy week. And you can tell because we didn't play Breath of the Wild this week. But the last thing I did do was I went and saw Shazam. So I went and saw Shazam on, what, Thursday? Yeah, my theater had... including me and the people I went with. There were, what, 9 of us? No, I think there were 8. There were 8 of us. Opening, like, Thursday opening at, like, 7 o'clock. I guess the movie's made $11 million opening day at the box office, which is just pitiful. Right? And, like, Scream came out, what, last week? And that I don't even think broke 20 million opening day at the box office. It's not looking good for movies. And, like, I kind of get it, but it ain't looking great. And yeah, this is just another one. But actual thoughts on the movie itself, I think the movie is fine. I feel the same way about Shazam as I do Ant-Man. Not that the movies have like anything in common. Like, they feel like very different movies. Mainly Ant-Man feels like a Star Wars film. But like, even with that, yeah, I'd probably get right. I feel about the same on them. I'd probably give them the same like score if I were to like review them out of 10. You know, and that'd be around like a 6 or probably around a 6. I think I gave Ant-Man a 6. At least I think that was the joke at the time. It's a fine movie. The new Shazam is fine. I liked it. And I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, it's because it's no longer part of the Snyderverse. It's because the whole DC universe is in influx. I don't know if that's entirely it. Because think of your average consumer. How much does your average consumer truly know about all the universe stuff? I mean, us super fans know a bunch of stuff, right? That's kind of our job as super fans. But for your average Joe Schmo, Midwestern American, living in fucking Arkansas, how much do they actually follow, like, hey, guess what? The next Marvel movie is gonna be The Marvels? Or do they just find out when they see the trailer? And, like, I'm surprised they actually haven't released a trailer for The Marvels yet. Because that's because that's the average consumer, right? The average consumer is an idiot. Everybody's an idiot. Come on, this is America. So, you know, I feel like people just on average don't really care about these sorts of things. So, and of course, like just today there was a big thing on Twitter about selling Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix. So that way Netflix will continue the Snyderverse. Shut the fuck up. It's been 2 fucking years. Nothing's going to change. You know, you won once. Just take your ball and go home. You're not gonna win again. We've moved on. The game has changed. But these whiny little entitled cunts just so crave this Snyderverse. And the worst part is, it's not even fucking good. If the Snyderverse was at least good, I would get it. Right? If these were like truly amazing movies, and it was a tragedy that they were getting canceled, I'd be like, yeah, you know, fight for the power and all that. But they aren't. They aren't good movies, like, at all. They're not the worst thing I've ever seen, but they're not good movies. A lot of them just straight up fucking suck. Because Zack Snyder doesn't get Superman. He does not get Batman. And it clearly shows time and time again. But people like his version for some stupid fucking reason. You know, they like Superman as a Jesus allegory, who never has been happy in his life, who, you know, doesn't inspire people. They like a Batman that uses guns, because it's edgy and adult, when in fact it's made for literal fucking children. Because the people who like the Snyderverse are fucking children. They are the villains of the story. They just don't realize it. Enough ranting aside, Shazam, it was fine. It was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Zachary Levi, that's the guy, right? He does a fine job as Shazam. The rest of the Shazam family, you know, they don't do an insane amount in the movie. Really, I'm mostly invested in, you know, Shazam himself and Freddy Shazam Jr., or whatever his name was called. I think he was called Captain Marvel Jr. in the original comics. And yeah, that's kind of like, I'm invested in those two and kind of Mary, even though I feel like they didn't do as much with her as they could. I don't know. But like, the other three, I don't know, I don't really care that much about. They're fine. They each have their little moments. But yeah, it's really nothing special of a movie. It's not terrible, but it's not special. The villains are kind of generic. Like, you know, the first movie sets up Mr. Mind as the big villain. And, you know, doing a sequel with Mr. Mind, because that's, you know, a big Shazam villain, I guess. That would have been cool. But no, instead we get the Daughters of Atlas. And I'm just gonna, are they in the, I'm gonna assume they're in the comics. I could be completely wrong. The Daughters of Atlas don't really feel anything. Okay, they don't feel that special. There is an idea there that I like. I like the idea that the children of the gods, who, you know, make up Shazam's powers, are coming to get their parents' powers back. That's not a terrible idea. Right? But the movie doesn't really do it. Like, we have the three Daughters of Atlas, and it's what, Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and I don't remember who plays the third one. And, you know, two good actresses. Like, they're all good actresses. And they have their moments. You know, I felt like Lucy Liu had her moment. I felt like Helen Mirren had her moment. Nothing outstanding, but yeah. But they're just not really, like, I don't know. It's weird that I'm saying that, oh, I would have liked a Caterpillar as a villain. But yeah, no, that's kind of true. I would have liked a Caterpillar as a villain. But yeah, the movie's got its set pieces. It's got its moments. You know, and part of it's like addressing like, hey, Billy, now that you're about to age out of the foster system, what are you going to do? Right? Kind of dealing with the psychological trauma that comes with that. Like, that's, like, if you've seen the trailer, there's that whole scene with him in therapy where he goes to, like, a pediatrician. That's how the movie opens. And it's like, okay, so you're going to deal with that. And they definitely do in some places. Like, Billy, right, him trying to, like, do everything together as a family. Because now that he's got one, he doesn't want to lose it. So, like, it does fine stuff like that. I thought the movie was funny. Like, unlike, like, yeah, I've seen people compare this to Thor: Love and Thunder. And I definitely get that comparison. But I actually thought this one was a lot funnier than Thor: Love and Thunder. Not amazingly so. Like, definitely not every joke hits like Thor: Love and Thunder. But I felt like more jokes hit than Thor: Love and Thunder. Whereas, like, 9 out of 10 jokes fail in Love and Thunder. I don't know, I'd say maybe 6 out of 10 fail here. That's still a lot of failure. But it's less than Thor: Love and Thunder. But no, I could honestly see the two's comparison. I'm scared to rewatch Ragnarok. I just keep telling myself that it's good. And as long as I don't rewatch it, I will never be proven wrong. At least that's what I tell myself to sleep at night. But yeah, anything else specific about the movie that even stands out? That, like, isn't spoilers? Nah, nothing. Would I recommend it? Probably not. I mean, I definitely think there are probably worse things you could go see in theaters right now. But I would also like to hope there are better. I don't know, John Wick 4 is next week, so, you know, there might be something better coming out. God, I'm sure that'll be fine. I'm sure that'll be fine. You know, I'm sure... Oh, God, is Guardians of the Galaxy 3 gonna be good? It might not be. I mean, I know we've put our faith in James Gunn, but it legitimately might not be. Like, that's a real possibility we have to look forward to. So, I guess, let's talk spoilers real quick. Spoilers for Shazam. So one of the big, like, subplot of the movie is that Freddy has a crush on this girl named Anna. And so his crush with Anna, right? She's the third daughter. Super obvious. They give that away almost immediately. But I like that even once the, like, twist is revealed, and again, it's not really a twist. Even once it's revealed, she still has a crush on Freddy. Like, the whole thing is she was using Freddy to get to Shazam. And then once it's revealed that, once, like, they take Freddy's powers, and it's revealed that, oh no, he is Captain Marvel Jr., it's like, oh, she actually feels kind of bad, and she later helps him escape. And then by the end, she loses her powers. And it's like, oh, okay. They do some good stuff there. So that's the first thing I'll say. Secondly, remember, when I talked about Moon Girl last week, I brought up how, like, the grandma knows that Moon Girl is, Lunella is Moon Girl. And I want a scene where, like, it looks like Lunella's about to reveal that she has powers to her grandma, or just to her parents. And then instead she reveals that she's gay. That scene happens in this movie. One of the kids, when they reveal that they have superpowers to the parents, they all reveal, except for one of them who admits he's gay. And it's like, yeah, we all kind of knew that, and, we love you. So yeah, that's great, I laughed at that one. That's exactly how I want it to play out in Moon Girl. If that happens. Again, I don't know enough about Moon Girl to know if she's actually gay or not. But yeah, so that was a great thing to see. So at the end of the movie, right, there's this big thing where, right, so you already have Anna, who betrays her sisters to free Freddy. And then later on, the villains basically win. They steal everybody but Billy Batson's powers. And they get the Apple of Discord or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, now we're going to use our powers and the Apple to, restore the realm of the gods. Like, that's the villain's whole motivation. But Lucy Liu, who, it's not, is she Calypso? I don't know. There's one of them, because the apple comes from the Garden of the Hesperides, which is a Hercules story. And, right, the Hercules story with Atlas is that, right, Atlas is holding up the world, but directly across from Atlas is the Garden of the Hesperides, which is this giant tree with some golden apples in it that is guarded by a dragon. So Hercules, right, he's not big enough to get to the top of the tree without stepping on the dragon, but Atlas is. So basically Hercules switches places with Atlas. Atlas goes over and picks some apples, and then brings them back to Hercules. Like, that's the whole thing. And then, of course, as punishment for whatever, Atlas's daughter, Calypso, ends up trapped on an island where she meets Odysseus. Right? Like, that's a big... that's the Odysseus myth. But that happened because, Atlas is punished by holding up the world, Calypso is trapped on an island, yada yada yada. It doesn't... For some reason, I think of the fucking... and obviously I think of the Percy Jackson books, because Calypso shows up in them. I think Atlas does as well, but I definitely remember the Calypso thing more, mainly because of Leo. Whole other story, I'm not going to get into it. But so, right, they're referencing that story, right? They need the apple from the Garden of the Hesperides, because the eldest sisters, I want to name Hesperia. And they need it to regrow the Tree of Life to bring back the Realm of the Gods. Because they say that the Realm of the Gods was destroyed by the wizards, by humans, but then they also do bring up the Wonder Woman thing about how Shazam has the power of Zeus. So, like, how does that work? Because in the Wonder Woman movie, they say that Zeus was killed by Ares. So, I mean, I guess they could both be true. I mean, I guess it's kind of contradictory. Mythology. Mythology's a mess. What can I say? Mythology in comic books is a mess. I guess let's go with that. But yeah, so so eventually the one played by Lucy Liu, kills the Hesperia, right, the eldest one. And then is like, oh, well, plants the seed in the mortal world. This causes a bunch of, like, monsters, like the Cyclops, like Harpies, a Manticore. They all show up. But then they're like, oh, well, what do monsters fear? The most fearsome monster of all, the unicorn. Now, it's very clear that they needed something, because right by that point, all the other kids except for Billy have lost their powers. So it's very clear that they needed something for the other kids to do. That's why they invented the unicorn side plot. But the unicorn side plot literally does nothing. It's just a massive waste of time to give all the other kids something to do. Because otherwise, they've all lost their powers. They've got nothing to do. This movie's like 2 hours long. I don't think it felt 2 hours. Or at least I didn't really feel it, but I could totally see where they could cut a good 10 to 20 minutes out of this thing. I could definitely see that. But in the end, in order to defeat Calypso, or whatever the middle daughter is, the daughter of Chaos, Billy overcharges the wizard's staff, blowing up Calypso, the dragon, the tree, and himself. So Billy Batson fucking dies in this movie. Of course, he doesn't actually die, though, because this movie wasn't written by a complete hack who killed off their main character in the second movie, unlike some other DC properties. So yeah, so remember how the first one of the great moments in the second movie is at the very end where Shazam shows up for the lunch, and then surprise, surprise, Superman's also there, and it's just sure, it's not Henry Cavill, but it's still a fantastic moment. Well, early on in this movie, there's a joke about Wonder Woman, right? How Billy Batson has a crush on Wonder Woman and would one day like to date her. And this happens in a dream, and they CGI the wizard's head over to him, over Wonder Woman, because that's where the joke is happening. So, right, that's a joke. But then they go to the realm of the gods, and right, one of the Z in Shazam is Zeus. And they bring up a point with the tree being destroyed and with Shazam being dead, right, the realm of the gods is dead forever, right? Because there are no more gods. But surprise, surprise, guess what? In the DC universe, Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus. She is a god by all technical means. So that's how they get around it. So Gal Gadot, probably for the last time, does a full... You can see her face and everything. There was some speculation about was it deep faked? But the director did confirm it was not deep faked. Right? They used a stunt double for framing shots and everything, and for that one scene I mentioned earlier in the dream, because you don't see her face, right? They're clearly parodying the end scene from the first movie. But no, Wonder Woman, who again, the last god, literally comes in and Deus Ex Machina's thing. Her father's job, because that's where the term comes from. It's Zeus. Zeus is the Deus Ex Machina, and I have no problem with that. Bringing in Wonder Woman to save the realm, to bring life back to the realm of the gods, and be a literal Deus Ex Machina, I have literally zero problem with. I can see how some people totally would, and I don't blame you at all for having that. But, the movie sets up a few things and pays all of them off, right? It properly checks its guns off. So that's fine. And then, of course, as a result of bringing back the realm of the gods, it brings back Billy Batson. And then, of course, he tries to use his Riz to get with Wonder Woman. It does not work. And then she just F's off for the end of the movie. And that's fine. And then, at the end, the wizard gets his drip back. And all ends happily ever after. The kids get their powers back. Right, they bring up early on that Billy has imposter syndrome, and the wizard's I regret choosing you. But then by the end of the movie, the wizard's no, I was wrong. The fact that you gave up your powers to the people you love proved that I was wrong. Because, that's what he did with all of his other wizard friends hundreds of years ago or whatever. So the movie ends on a happy note. And yeah, I thought it was fine. And the first post-credit scene is putting Shazam in the Justice Society. Not the Justice League. He thinks he's signing up for the Justice League. But nope, it's the Justice Society. Which, they're clearly just trying to make the Avengers. That's very clearly what they're trying to do. Right? Based on Black Adam, a movie I forgot existed. Amanda Waller is Nick Fury, and the Justice Society are her Avengers. And if we were setting up Shazam to fight Black Adam, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But guess what? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's out, and he didn't want to fight Shazam. He thought that was beneath him. Instead, he only wanted to fight Superman. So, yeah, he can fuck right off with that. That would have been cool. Again, I did not like Black Adam. It was definitely worse. I was like, it was definitely worse than this movie. That's for sure. Definitely. But at the end of the day, right, so they're setting up that he's joining the Justice Society. But hey, guess what? The entire DC universe is getting reboot in like a few months, so who gives a shit? I'm honestly surprised they even put any post-credit scenes in this movie. Just because we know the universe is getting reset. And well, yeah, of course, right, like the original Flashpoint, they can literally just pick and choose what they want. And different writers will pick and choose what elements they want to bring over, which, resulted in all of the continuity errors in the original, after the original Flashpoint. That editorial bullshit, like Batman can't be 50 years old. Just let Batman be 50. Let Batman be 50. Let him pass the mantle down to Tim Drake. Let Spider-Man retire and fade away. There was a post recently on Twitter over the week about how, like, they were at, like, a Barnes & Nobles or something. And, like, there was, like, a comic book section. And it was just a massive wall of anime and of manga. And just a very little tiny section of comic books. And the whole post was like, the comic book industry has clearly failed. First of all, comic book stores. And, I kind of get why we would say the comic book industry has failed. Right? Like, I kind of get it. Especially because, the main two comic producers literally only publish comics in comic book stores. And they only advertise comics to people who already read comics. If it wasn't for the internet, comic books would be 100% impenetrable. And the only reason they are penetrable nowadays, as far as I'm concerned, is because of people on, YouTube and TikTok who, are making comic books approachable for new people, right? Sir Superhero, Nikhil Clayton, Comic Book Drake, Linkara, right? If it wasn't for those people, and to YouTube, to TikTok, if it was, and a bunch of others whose names I'm not saying right now, I don't think I would ever be able to get into comics. Cerebrocast, right? I'm only able to get into X-Men because of that comic. Because that comic made it feel accessible. Because Marvel Comics does not make X-Men feel accessible, not one fucking bit. But Cerebrocast did, so yeah. That's why the comic book industry is failing. If they, again, how much they're failing, well, that's a little bit harder to say, but I kind of get it. But it's okay for stories to end. That's kind of one of the things that people were bringing up against comics, is that comic books never end. There will always be the next adventures of Batman and Robin. There will always be the next adventure of Spider-Man. Because as we're seeing the Amazing Spider-Man comics right now, that are just a complete shit show. Just let because, Naruto ended. Bleach ended. Was it good? I don't know about that. But it ended. One Piece, it's been going for 1,000 issues, but it will one day end. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Captain America, they will never end. And even when they do pass down the mantle, it's never forever. Right? Like, they can't just bring Peter Parker back for special crossover events. Imagine if we hadn't, imagine if in, 2016, after the events of Secret Wars, if Peter Parker had retired, and Miles Morales had been our Spider-Man ever since then. And then for the anniversary of Spider-Man number 1000, they do a big special event where they bring back, hey, guess what? It's the Spider-Man, it's the original Spider-Man Peter Parker, the middle Spider-Man Ben Reilly, and the new Spider-Man, Miles Morales, all together for one special book for number 1000. Like, that would have been cool, especially if we hadn't seen Peter Parker or Ben Reilly in a while. But no. And then there's the whole Wally West thing, where Wally West was the Flash for an entire generation. He was my Flash. And then they fucking brought Barry Allen back and destroyed the entire DC universe and literally character assassinated Wally West. God, fucking, Raggle Fraggle, Heroes in Crisis, Raggle Fraggle, Tom King, fuckity fuck. I fucking hate Hero. God, I loved Wally West, and they just ruined him. I know they went on damage control shortly after. Still doesn't forgive Heroes in Crisis. God, and that's what they were gonna do in the next season of Young Justice. That's how Young Justice ended, was them setting up Heroes in Crisis. Oh, fuck. To be fair, that show had a few episodes that dealt with mental health. Too bad they didn't actually get an actual psychologist to do any of it. Instead, they just had Black Canary doing all the mental health stuff. Because, you know, she's totally a registered psychologist or whatever. Fucking comic books, man. So yeah, the ending of Shazam, post-credit scene, Justice Society. Other post-credit scene sets up Mr. Mind, right? They comment about how it's been years since the last Shazam, but they set up Mr. Mind again, and it's fine. So yeah, that's how Shazam ended. It was definitely a movie, that's for sure. Honestly, I've seen far worse. I'm not gonna say you know, part of me actually, okay, so here's the one thing I will say. Even though I think this movie is whatever, if they were to make a third Shazam that actually pays off its promises, that actually does Mr. Mind, and they introduce, like, Tawny Tiger and whatever. It's Tawny Tiger, right? If they actually did do a third Shazam, I would watch it, right? Even if it's David F. Sandberg again and everything, I'd still watch it, right? Even if it's on the same level of quality, I'd like that. It's definitely not going to happen based on its current box office performance. And, you know, critic reception and everything, we're definitely not getting another Shazam. But if we did, I would definitely be here for it. Because I thought this was fine, and I like Shazam as a character. So yeah. Last thing I will say, there's a scene throughout the entire movie, they're constantly talking about how, like, oh, Shazam doesn't have a good hero name. Right? Like, that's a running joke. Like, Freddy calls him Captain Everything. Or that's what he calls himself anyways. But then at one point they do call him Captain Marvel. And I'm pretty sure it's the original Captain Marvel. You know, the greatest American hero. I'm pretty sure it's the original actor. I don't know, because for some reason I thought he was dead. But no, I'm pretty sure it's the original actor and everything. So that was cool. So, I guess that takes us to the end of the show. Like I said, it was going to be a short one tonight. And I'm fine with that. I'm actually perfectly fine with that. Oh, God, it's been a long time since we've done a show under 2 hours. So, what's up in the coming weeks? Or in the coming week, I should say. Well, so we didn't, because I was busy, and I kind of hinted that this was going to happen, we didn't have time for Breath of the Wild this week. I was just too busy. However, this upcoming week, I'm definitely going to have time to do Breath of the Wild. Specifically on Monday, we are going to be back for Breath of the Wild. And we're going to hopefully do an extra long Breath of the Wild stream. I took Monday off, so we're hopefully going to be able to go in. And I'd love to do, you know, a 6-hour one. That's my goal. Will that actually happen? I don't 100% know, but I'm going to try. I'm definitely going to try for a 6-hour Breath of the Wild stream. So that's the hope right now. Other than that, I don't think we've got any other big games to play. Again, not until Breath of the Wild. So I really have not been playing much Splatoon. If it wasn't obvious, I really have not touched this game since the last time we streamed it. And I just haven't... I know I kept making jokes about entering my villain era. And technically that's true. But I guess as part of the villain era, I just kind of don't want to play the game right now. Like, there are other things... I know I've been putting a lot of time into Kirby, and that explains a lot. Okay, good. We've got all the gear from Marina. But yeah, I just really have not been wanting to play Splatoon. Just, like, straight up. Like, it's still good for in-chat. I mean, we should have done Kirby. I said this last week as well. I should have just worked on the extra mode in Kirby to work through that 100% completion. But nah. I'm good. So yeah, the plan, we'll be back next week for in-chat, obviously. Maybe we'll have more stories next week. But we're definitely going to be back with Breath of the Wild on Monday. Hopefully a 6-hour stream. That'd be fantastic. Maybe we'll do some other stuff as well over the coming week. I'm definitely thinking about it. I don't know. I would love to do Pikmin. I would love to just sit down and do all of Pikmin. Pikmin 1 in a single day. That'd be really nice, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight. It's a short night. Short night, not many stories. I talked about Shazam for like half an hour. I don't even read Shazam comic books. That's the funny thing. We'll definitely be here for that next Splatfest, that's for sure. Team Alien all the way. Oh, there was a whole rumor, I guess, that on some Spanish Nintendo website, maybe it was Italian, talking about how the next DLC may not be coming until the side order DLC may not be until 2024, but nothing has been confirmed yet. So yeah, don't go rushing into that. I'm still expecting September. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna end off for tonight. We'll be back next week, and we'll be back Monday with Breath of the Wild. Till then, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.